Very good morning to all of you. Today we will learn about the implementation of X queries, in which we can learn how to rewrite, how to perform indexes, and how to do runtime system during database management system, or especially we can say that object-oriented database management system. Okay. So first we would like to start with XQuery. XQuery is a special kind of language at the crossroads. Okay, it's a query language, and it will having different functions, different types of functional programming languages, object-oriented languages, the procedural languages, and some new features are also available in XQueries that will have the context that is sensitive to the semantics. So the processing of XQuery has to learn from all those fields plus the innovate. XQuery processing. So there are two types of processing is available for XQuery, old and new. Okay. So first I would like to start with the functional programming. In functional programming, we have different environment for expressions. These expressions are nested with full generality and lazy evaluation. Like we will have different data models, different data schemes, different types of system, different types of query languages can be used for the evaluating the process of the query. And also it is important to note here the contextual semantics is used for the expressions. Also we need to know the side effects of any functions, any programming languages used in query processing, the non-determinism in logic operators and others. So streaming execution is also important in functional programming, and we need to apply different logical and physical data models. We need to apply different mismatch processes during the logical and physical data models. So relational query languages, which is a part of SQL. When we talk about structured query language, it's a kind of query language that works on the relational database. This relational database is having high level of construct. It is having stream execution, and it will work for logical and physical data mismatch and the appropriate optimization. So in structured query language, the data models, including the schema of the data, different types of systems, and query languages are important. And it is also important to know that SQL can handle the errors, and it will have the options for having the logical values. Now moving to the next slide. So now it is very important to know here what is object oriented query languages, which is OQL. So OQL works as the expression which is nested with the full generality, it the nodes with the node object identity and its topological order for the nodes. Different kinds of data models, different kinds of schemes, different kinds of query languages are also there in the structured query language, or you can say the object query languages. And it is important to note here that object oriented query language, that is OQL, have the facility for the streaming the execution. Imperative languages like Java is a kind of imperative languages. It is having some side effects. It will have the option to handle the errors like any kind of data models, schemes. We can have different types of systems and query languages. So lazy evaluation and streaming is also possible in imperative languages like Java. It will have some logical and physical data mismatch and the appropriate optimization. There is a possibility of handling the large volume of the data set by using the Java programming languages, which is a kind of imperative language. We can handle a large volume of data for performing any kind of query. Now moving to the next slide. Okay, so what are the major steps that is involved in the XML query processing? So we will start with the parsing and the verification. Then in the second step, we can go for the code rewriting. Under code, before code rewriting, we have to perform the internal query or the representation of different programs. Then we can generate different codes. Okay, so these three steps: parsing, code writing, and code generation is a part of compilation process. And after generating the code, after having different kinds of codes present there, we can execute the code for a specific operation for a specific purpose. Okay, it will have the lower level of internal query representation, and we need to have the data access pattern API. Okay, now moving to the next slide. Uh, the structured query language, the processing of the structured query language, how we can perform the query, how we can do the query languages during the SQL. So it will have the select option. First, we will have the option to select the data from the table. And like here, we have the data, which is the list having the hostels and cities, and where the city having the name and the type of the city, that will have the parser and the query optimizer. Then after this, we can go for the data schema that will have all the statistics of the database. Okay, so this query processing involves first the parser and query optimizer. Then we can plan for different executable engines. Under different execution engine, we will have two options, that is scan. First we will scan the details about the hostels or hotels, then we will scan the cities. So here we have the hash option. Hash join is used to execute any program, to execute any kind of scanning of the data set. There are two kinds of data sets here, hotels and cities. So it will scan the hotels and the cities, then it will have some indexes and the base database. So how we can do SQL join ordering? This SQL join ordering can be done as the cost of Cartesian product, that is n into m, where n and m are the size of the two input tables. Okay, and in next step we can have the option, that is r cross s cross t, that is you can say the card r is equal to card t is equal to 1 and card s is equal to 10. So here we can perform it in two different ways. First, r cross s in a bracket cross t, that cost 10 plus 10 is equal to 2. And the second type, we can do it by having the bracket of r cross t cross s, that cost 1 plus 10 is equal to 11. So for joining order in SQL, for any kind of query in SQL with many joins, the joining orders that will be responsible for the orders of the magnitude of the difference. It will have milliseconds versus decades in the response time. So how relevant is joining ordering for XQuery? It is important to know the relevance of the joining order in any kind of query or in any kind of query operation. Okay, so in writing in any query operation, in any query, how to write the SQL. So we will start from the select. First we will select from different databases from A, B and C, where A dot A is equal to B dot B and B dot B is a C dot C. So now we can transform it into different formats. We can transform into different, we can rewrite it in different way. We can start with ABC, and where A dot A is equal to B dot B and B dot B is equal to C dot C and A dot A is equal to C dot C. Why is this transformation good or bad? How relevant is this for query? It is very important for writing any kind of query. Now moving to the next slide. How to rewrite the code. The code rewriting goals. First, we have to reduce the level of the abstraction. Then we can work on the reduction of the execution cost. And the code rewriting concepts, first we will represent the code that is having different databases in the form of algebras, then code transformations, then rewriting the rules, and we can do for the search strategies, that is having the databases and code cost estimation. Now code representation is a algebra, the right metaphor or expressions, annotated expressions or automata. We can have the standard algebra for XQuery, then redundant algebra. We can use redundant algebra or not. The core algebra in the query formal semantics. Then we can have the option between the logical and physical algebra. So before that, we have to know what is the physical plan for adding two values, that is 1 plus 1, and we can work for the additional structure, that is data flow graphs, and it's a kind of dependency graph. So For code representation, we need to see the compiler transformation for high performance computing backend and the graph. So automata representation can be used to represent any kind of path expression. When we are going to write any code, we can start with the begin, then we can have different automatic processes to define the path. Okay, so in this figure, we can have different options: NFA versus DFA versus AFA, one path versus a set of paths. We can have the option for having for following one path, or we can have the multiple paths. So we need to check which path is suitable for any kind of representation. The problem in automatic representation is that it is not extensible to the full query. It is better suited for push execution, and pull is harder, and it is having lazy evaluation, which is very hard to understand. Okay, now TLC algebra. TLC algebra is a kind of XML query tree pattern which is called as Twix. It is annotated with the predicates and the tree matching as basic operations, that is having logical and physical operations. And the tree pattern matching may have the option of binding the tuples. As we know that tuples are the number of rows in the relational data table. Okay, so the tree matching pattern can be used to bind different tuples, and the tuples can be combined via classical relational algebra. Means we can add, we can select a project, join, or duplicate that relational table or relational database that can be represented by the number of rows, which is known as the tuples. Okay, so now moving to the next slide. So how to perform query expressions? So the expressions used in the query operation can be built during the parsing process, and almost 1+1 mapping is used between the expressions in the query and internal ones. So there may be the difference between the match. We can use any expression, or we can use any node test for path expression. We can also have the option to perform the annotated expression. Okay, for example, we can unordered an annotation, and annotations can be exploited during the optimization. Redundant algebra can also be part of the query operation. For an example, we can generally use FLWR, okay, and for type switch, but also for the instances and conditionals. So we can support for data flow analysis. That is a fundamental uh, process query expressions. So the expressions may be of different types. When we talk about query expressions, it may be have different types. It may have some constants. It may have some complex constants. Then there may be some expressions. If then else expression can also be used during the expression, and it may have different kinds of variables. Under variable, we can use different kinds of float variables, different kinds of external variables. We can also count the number of variables and different parameters. Okay, so expression can be written in different ways depending on our requirement, depending on the database or what database we are dealing with. We can use any of the expressions for defining that database, that query. Okay, node constructor is also a kind of expression. It can also be used for an expression during the query processing. It may have different orders: first order query operation, second order expressions. Under second order operations, we can have FLWR expression, then map expression, let expression, quantified expression, short expression, create index expression, and functional parameter cost or match expression. Okay, so expressions may be of different types. It may have different functions to match different operations. It can be used to perform first order, second order type of expressions during the query processing. Okay, so this is an example of how we can perform, how we can represent the expression. Okay, so originally we start with the map, then we can have the match option, then FO match option. We can have if then else function. We can use if then else function. So this is an example how we can use different kinds of expressions for any kind of query processing. Data flow analysis is very important in case of any query operation. So it's a kind of annotate annotation of each operator. Okay, so under this annotation process, we have to type different outputs. Then is output is sorted, does it contains the duplicates, we need to check the duplication, that is data redundancy. Then we have to check has output node is there, are node ids are needed. And annotations can be computed in walk through the plan, that is having intrinsic, synthetic and inherited. Okay, annotation may also be computed in three different ways, that is intrinsic, synthetic and inherited. And optimization can also be done on the basis of different annotations. It may be used to eliminate the redundancy of the operators, it may be used to avoid the generation of the node ids in streaming the application or the programming. So data flow analysis is very important, and for that we are having three options that will having. The first option is annotate each operator, then annotation computed in each in walk through the plan, and optimizations that is based on the annotations. So this is the flow chart, this is the static type data flow analysis. We will start with the match, then we can go for the children option that will have the book of the book type. Then we can have different option, we will have bibliographic information about that book, and then validate the result. And finally we can have the output in the form of some xml format or xml dataset. Okay, so during the rewriting of any X query, we need to follow these criteria. We should have algebraic properties of the comparisons, algebraic properties of the Boolean operators are required, let clause folding and unfolding is there, function inlining, floor nesting and unnesting, for clauses minimization, constant folding, common sub-expression, factorization, the type which is based on rewriting the syntax, navigation based rewritings, and the join ordering. So for rewriting any kind of query, or for rewriting any code during the query processing, we need to follow these of the criteria, these are the steps. So how to write a query in SQL? So we will start from the select, then we can go for the table from where we are going to look. We are going to select a specific query, we are going to perform query, then where, under where scheme, under where step, we can have different options which will be transformed into select, and from the table, and where, in which row and column is data there, so we can perform the query. So why is this transformation good or bad, and how relevant is this for X query? Okay, so this is the way we can write the, or we can say we can rewrite the query for structured query language. Okay, so we can start with the select. Under select we can write a dot small a, then from a specific table where we are looking for any query, and where is the, where in where condition, in where step we need to select a specific row or column from where we are looking for any kind of query, or we are looking for any kind of data set, which is transformed to a new key or new X key. Okay, so why this why is this transformation is good, and when can this transformation be applied? So what are the algebraic properties of any comparison? When we are working on the comparison of different operators, when we are working on the comparison of different expressions, so the algebraic properties are very important to understand. So general comparison, not reflexive, it is a transitive. So we can have 1 3 and it will have 1 2, but also we can use these symbols. The reason behind using these symbols, that these are the implicit existential quantification and dynamic cast. Negation rule does not hold, that is having some functions that is not equivalent to the function. General comparison is not transitive, that is not reflexive. And value comparisons are almost transitive, that is an exceptional case where decimal is used due to the loss of the perception. The impact on grouping, hashing, indexing, and the caching. So how to write, or how to correct the rewriting of the code? So if we are having type E2 is a subtype of type E1, so we can have different variables. We can have different variable that will be used to identify to define the E2 is a subset of free variable E1. So for any binding operation, for the binding of two variables, if E1 must return error, okay, for example semantics, then E2 must return error that is not mandatory the same error. If E2 can return a value that is a non error, then E2 must return a value among the value accepted for E1 or error. Note, it is important to note here that X query is non-deterministic. So this definition allow the rewriting of E1 which is greater than error, and trust that you need to trust that your vendors does not do that all for all E1. So for that query operation, we can also apply different Boolean operators. We need to know the properties of different Boolean operators that can be used for any query operation, query processing. Among of the most useful logical operators, PNSF and PDNF. These are the two most useful logical operators that can be used to rewrite the query or code, and or it can have a commutative and allow the short circuiting for optimization process, but are not deterministic. It's a kind of two value logic. So the bracket is converted into the false bracket before the use, and the conventional distributivity rules for the and, not, or do the is used for holding. Let clause folding, it is a traditional writing rewriting code that will be not easy to use. Okay, this is the way we can use let clause folding. That is a traditional rewriting of the code. Okay, this in this slide you can have different kinds of clauses in the let clause, having the impact on unordered or context sensitive data sets. It is not equivalent. So it is important to note that here the let clause folding is used to fix the node construction problem. For fixing the problems related to the node construction, we need to use let clause. So for that, we need to apply sufficient conditions. We need to expression that does not never generate new nodes in the result, or it is used only once and not part of a loop and not input to a recursive function. So data flow analysis is required for fixing the construction problem during the node. Okay, context sensitivity for the namespace resolution during query analysis, and namespace resolution during the evaluation. One is not a problem if query rewriting is done after namespace resolution, and it could be a serious problem. So that X query should be avoided it for the movement, and the restrictions on the context sensitive operations like string can be done. For that is a kind of queue name casting. Let clause unfolding can also be used as a traditional rewriting. Okay, it's guaranteed only if runtime implements the consistently lazy evaluation. Otherwise, data flow analysis and error analysis is required for such kind of unfolding operation during using let clause. Function inlining is very important. It's a kind of traditional FP rewriting technique. It's not always same problem as for let clause, that is having handling the side effect and unordered data problem. So the additional problems, that is implicit operations, that is automation and cost. Okay, we have to make sure this rewriting is done after the normalization. So this is the way we can do the function in inlining. FLWR unnesting, it's a traditional database technique, and the problem is simpler than in OQL or ODMG. There is no nested collection in XML, and it's order by count variable and unordered that limits the limit applicability. This is about the FLWR unnesting. FWR unnesting, it's another traditional database technique, and it's the same comments apply as in the let clause. For clause minimization, it is another useful rewriting technique. for clause is used for rewriting the query. This is an example of different syntaxes used in the rewriting technique using the for clause. And moving to the next slide, the constant folding is another traditional technique. These are some syntaxes that may be used for writing the syntaxes using constant folding option. Common sub-expression factorization. So the main objectives or the main question in factorization is whether it is having same expression, or we are dealing with the same context, or what kind of error is equivalent, and how to create the same new node. So this is a common sub-expression factorization. Okay. So type-based rewritings. So type-based optimization, having the option to increase the advantages of lazy evaluation. It is used to eliminate the need for expensive operations like sort and dump elmi, static dispatch for overloaded functions, and it is used to eliminate the non-operations. And there is a choice of various runtime implementations for certain logical operators. So this is the rewriting on the basis of type-based function. Okay. So how to deal with backward navigation? So we need to replace the backward navigation with forward navigation, and it will help us. It enables to stream the expression. So these are some syntaxes how we can use this, how we can perform the backward navigation using some syntaxes which is written here. So it enables the streaming of the expression or streaming of any code or program. Okay, so we need to have more compilers that will support for the execution of the code, execution of any query, streaming versus data materialization, node identifiers handling, document order handling, scheduling for parallel execution, and projecting the input data streams. So these are some more compilers that can support the execution of any query, that can support the execution of any kind of query or code in the object-oriented database or object-oriented processing. When should we materialize? Okay, so that we said we should use traditional operators. There are other conditions, like whenever a variable is used multiple times, whenever a variable is used as a part of a loop, whenever the content of a variable is given as input to a recursive function. In case of backward navigation, and those are the only cases, and in most of the cases materialization can be partial and lazy. So we need to use the compiler that can detect those cases via data flow analysis. So during the process of materialization, we need to apply data flow analysis that can detect the cases, that can detect the case of partial and lazy materialization. Okay. Now moving to the next slide, how we can minimize the use of node identifiers. So node identifiers are required by the XML data model, but not on RUS, that is time and space. The solution for such kind of problem is to decouple the node construction operation from the node ID generation operation. We need to generate node IDs only if the really it is needed. So for that, we need, if the query contains the operators that need node identifiers, that is, for example, sort by the doc order is parent, or node identifiers are required for that result. So in that case, we also need to use data flow analysis. We also need to apply data flow analysis that can be used to minimize the use of node identifiers. So for dealing with different path expressions, we need to work on the sorting by document order and duplicate the elimination that is required by the query semantics, but very expensive. These are different semantic conditions written here: document slash a b c, then document slash a double slash b, that guaranteed to return the result in doc order and not to contain the duplicates. Then we can also write it in different way, that is document double slash a slash b. It will not guaranteed to return these results in doc order, but guaranteed not to contain the duplicates. Then document /A//B. It is nothing can be said in general. So these are some kinds of expressions that can be used to deal with the path expression. And different syntaxes may have different outputs depending on the um, syntax, depending on the position of the slash symbol here in the expression. Parallel execution is it's obvious that certain sub expressions of an expression can be executed in parallel way. Okay, so we need to schedule this parallel execution based on the data dependency. It may be partitioned in horizontal or vertical direction, and it's a kind of interaction between the errors and the parallelism. Okay, so parallel execution is also there. In some cases, we need to perform parallel execution of multiple expressions. It can be performed in vertical direction or horizontal direction, depending on the requirement. Query expression analysis. Under query expression analysis, how many times does an expression use a variable? It is important to know an expression using a variable as a part of loop. Is an expression a map on a certain variable? Is an expression guaranteed to return the results in doc order? And is an expression guaranteed to return node distinct results? And it is important to know whether there is an expression of a function, and can the result of an expression contains newly created nodes, or is the evaluation of an expression context sensitive. So can an expression raise user's error? Okay, so is a sub expression of an expression guaranteed to be executed, or and so on. These are some query expression analysis. These are some questions that is based on the query expression analysis. So how we can compile different codes, how we can perform compiling using xquery versus xslt. So it's an empiric assertion that is depending on the entropy level in the data. xlst is it's easy to use if the shape of the data is totally unknown. xquery is easier to use in case of the shape of the data is known to us, that is in the case of low entropy. Data analysis is possible in xquery, and it is much harder in xslt. So it's a type of static typing, error detection, and lots of optimization is required. So the conclusion is that the in case of less entropy, it is having more potential for the optimization, and unsurprisingly, so we need to use xquery because it is providing us the low entropy that will very much potential for optimization of that query. Thank you very much for today's class, and now we will meet again in the next class for the remaining part of the today's lecture. Thank you very much for this class.